Police Show. I'm your host, Trog. We're going to take a little short break here. We'll be right back talking about Baitcar.
Here at McDonald's, we recognize your need for new and fresh ideas. Well, we consider ourselves hip and fresh and rad and all that. So we want to introduce the new triple stack Patty Whack. It's cool and right on. It's on the chain. Most of all, it's whack. Try one if you're cool. Visit your local McDonald's on 5th and Vine in Greensboro. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Miracle Whip is sorta kinda, not really, like mayo, but multiplied by awesomeness. You see, we've got this bold, tangy flavor that is unlike anything you've ever tasted. 1 out of 4 people in this country loves the creamy, sweet, and tangy taste of Miracle Whip. Sadly, 2 out of the other 4 hate them for it. And 1 out of those 2 haven't even tried it. Well, we think 1 out of 2 of the original 4 is being pretty unfair. Let's declare an end to this injustice, this unfair treatment against a simple sandwich spread. Miracle Whip, sorta kinda, not really, like mayo.
Man, please. I bet that's what some of the young people that get arrested for stealing these cars say. Man, please. I've heard some awesome excuses. Man, I was just driving. I was getting it off the street, man. You know, it was parked here, and I was gonna just pull it over here in the parking lot. And, man, I wasn't stealing no car. Mm-hmm. Man, please, we got the video, so we know you're stealing it, man. I've even seen episodes to where there's several people around the vehicle, and they're, you know, hey, you gonna take it? No, you gonna take it? No, I'm gonna take it. And somebody in the crowd will say, hey, don't touch that car. That's a Baitcar. I'm telling you. Oh, you a fool, man. You a fool. You ain't a fool. You better listen to that fool. But they don't. You know why? Because I found out that most car thieves are under the age of 21. I don't know what the percentage rate is, but most of them, so it's got to be over half. But I'm sure it's probably higher than that, much higher. Most of them are under 21. You know why? Because I'm young. That's why. I'm gonna steal this car. Why? Because I'm young. Man, I got time. I do, you know. Whatever. So I want to talk about the cops. You know, the people that steal these vehicles. There's really not much to say because they do. They steal the vehicles. But I have a question. I have a concern about the police officers that are doing this, because I've watched this program several times, and it's not the case every time. So this time I'm only referring to one episode, and the police station was in New Orleans, the 6th district in New Orleans. And there's 2 officers here. I'm not gonna say their names. I thought, you know what? I thought about calling them and actually trying to do an interview with them and recording it, and because my concern was with these particular officers. And I've seen this behavior on other shows, but it's not always the case. Okay, so I want to put that out there first. This is not an attempt to label the police. This is just my attempt to express something I saw and that I'm concerned about. And that is, and my concern is, are these guys way too enthusiastic about this? On this episode, I think they were. I almost felt sorry for the car thieves. Because these, and I'll tell you why. These two particular police officers, they were detectives. They wanted these kids to steal the car. And they said as much. And were disappointed when one would come up to it and didn't leave. They were disappointed. Oh, dang. We didn't get him. You know, and I was like, what? Really? Is that your attitude? Oh, dang. He didn't steal it? Shouldn't it be? Man, I hope this young person resists the temptation to steal this vehicle. I hope they resist. I hope they have the inner willpower, the character to resist the temptation to steal this vehicle. That's what I would like to hear from my police officers when they're doing these things, because I don't want them to be excited, because it's like they're out there fishing. And, you know, and you know, if you ever watch the show, that's exactly the way it looks. They've got their graphics that they show when they're starting the program. You know, they always have these kind of graphics and things that they show when they're starting the program. They have a car going down the street with a hook in the back of it and a line. So that's what they're doing. It's like they're throwing their bait in the water. Come on, fishy. Come on, fishy. And that doesn't seem right. Fishing is one thing, but when you're talking about human beings and human lives, that's another thing. You shouldn't be sitting there hoping that some young person who is not in jail, you don't know this person, hoping that he steals that car. That just doesn't seem right to me. It's the wrong attitude. And I think that contributes to the disconnect between the cops and communities where there are disconnects. I think that's part of it. Because, you know, I'm seeing, and I'm not standing up for the car thieves' behavior. Yeah, they're actually doing it. They're stealing the car, so there's no excuse. I'm not excusing their behavior. I'm not making light of their behavior. They're stealing the car. But I am concerned about these officers and any officers that practice this behavior. And that is hoping that these young kids under 21 steal your Baitcar. I think you should be hoping they don't steal it. Encourage them. Lift them up. I don't know, man. It's kind of frustrating to me because I support my police department, and I love my police department. I just recently had to call my police department because I live on a street. It's a crossover between two other major streets. So people come flying down this street. Well, it's a residential street, and there's kids here, and my grandkids play at my house. Of course, I don't let them go on the street. But so I called my local sheriff's department, and I told them of the issue. And you know what they did? They brought out one of those speed monitor things that sit on the side of the road. They put it on my street, and it's made a huge difference. So I support the police, and my son actually considered applying for the police department. He was in the Army, and a lot of time, that kind of discipline goes hand in hand with the kind of discipline required to be a police officer. But, when the police officers forget that an important part, I don't know what their main part is, I'm not a police officer, but I think a very important part of their duties is to reach out in the community that you're serving and be an example of encouragement, not just give the impression that that we're on the side of good, you're on the side of bad. That's, come on, man, please. The circumstances, I tell you, I bet there's a lot of police officers who have had certain influences in their lives that have encouraged them to be successful and to be responsible, go to school, and they become police officers. And it's from the influences in their lives, the circumstances of their lives. And a lot of people have risen out of bad circumstances. But I wonder how many of these police officers, if their circumstances were different and their lives were different and their influences were different, would they have turned out to be a police officer? Or would they have maybe not stolen cars, but and I'm not advocating and I don't support any kind of crime, but I kind of understand the plight. And I know, speaking for myself only, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've not been arrested, gone to jail and done all those kind of things, but I've made a lot of mistakes. But the one thing that meant the most to me is when somebody encouraged me and didn't look at me as a troublemaker or as someone that I need to keep my eye on. When somebody, those people, I had people like that in my life, and I tell you, they didn't influence me in a positive way at all. But I've had people in my life that encouraged me and saw through the flaws in my character, saw through those, chose to see through those, and saw a person behind those that just wanted to come out, and then they found an interest. I want to help him, and they took a personal interest in me. Even, it doesn't have to be a long-term kind of thing. It can just be one moment of encouragement will stand out and make a difference. One moment will do it. But if you're sitting back hoping, man, I hope this kid steals it. Oh, come on, man, come on. That's the way I used to feel when I was fishing, topwater fishing for largemouth bass. I thought that sucker, oh, come on, man, come on. I don't think that's the right way to feel about a young, underprivileged child in a rundown neighborhood. Don't hope he steals your Baitcar. Shame, 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 as far as I'm concerned. So that's my man, please, today. I love police officers, but officers, when you have that kind of attitude, man, please, encourage them. Don't encourage them to steal your car. Encourage them not to steal it. talk to them, reach out to your community, and I know a lot of you police officers do that. I appreciate it.